Hello, my name is Ellen Brown. I'm an attorney and an author. I've written 11 books. My latest book is this one, The Web of Debt, The Shocking Truth About Our Money System and How We Can Break Free. The shocking truth about our money system is that there is no real money in it. Except for coins, which compose only 1/10,000th of our money supply, all of our money is created privately by banks when they make loans. That includes Federal Reserve notes or dollar bills, which are issued by the Federal Reserve, a privately owned central bank, and then lent to the U.S. government and to other banks. So those banks then are allowed to leverage that deposit base into many times that sum in loans, and that's where all of our money comes from. Because the bankers are in control of the money supply, when the banking system falters, or when we have a credit freeze like we have right now, our entire economy falters, because our entire economy is based on this money that is issued as credit by banks. So the result has been that business can't get the money that they used to be able to get, so they wind up laying people off, and you have unemployment. The housing market's collapsing because we don't have the credit that we used to have, and therefore states are going bankrupt because they don't have the tax base they used to have. Because of unemployment, they don't have as much income tax, and because of housing, they don't have those taxes. So the states, 48 of 50 states, are currently not able to meet their budgets either this year or next year. And so what they're doing instead is that they're having to slash services, and this is at a time when we particularly need social services because people are out of work. And they're raising taxes, again, at a time when people can't afford higher taxes because they're out of work or having trouble finding work. And we're selling off our state resources. These are things we've actually paid for, and now we're going to have to rent them back. The parks, roads, bridges, parking meters, anything they can, airports, ports, they're selling off to private investors, and then we'll wind up paying fees for our own assets. During the Great Depression of the 1930s, the problem was there was not enough money in the system. The food was there, the food was laying on the ground, but there was no money to pay the workers to pick it, and there was no money to buy it in the grocery stores. So the food was there, and the people were starving, and it was only what was missing was just the flow of money or the flow of credit to get them from one to the other. So we're being reduced to the status of a third world country. We're having to tighten our belts because of a failed Wall Street banking system. Meanwhile, the Wall Street bankers are getting trillions out of our government on the presumption that if we don't preserve this banking system, then we won't have a credit system. But that is not true. In fact, we can create our own credit exactly the way that banks create it. We can have set up an alternative credit system in which states would own their own banks. Any large public entity could own its own bank, a municipality or a state university system like the state of California, or the University of California could own its own banking system. One state in the Union does this. That's North Dakota. North Dakota is one of only 2 states that are currently able to meet their budgets. In fact, the state now has the largest surplus that it has ever had. It has plenty of money for everything it needs to do. It's got plenty of money for student loans. It makes low interest loans to farmers. It funds municipal bonds. It acts as a sort of central bank in the state, so it partners with the other banks so they don't feel threatened. They're actually helped by this whole system. So they've managed to keep their money within the state. And the way they've done this, ever since 1919, they have put all their state's revenues in this one bank, the Bank of North Dakota. In 1919, the farmers were losing their farms to the Wall Street bankers in the same way, the same situation that we're in now. And so they got fed up with it and banded together and got some legislation passed. So now all the state's revenues go in this one bank, plus they have private customers, so they have a huge deposit base, and then they can use those deposits, as any bank can, to create many times that sum in loans for all their credit needs. So every state could and should do this. In California, we are now $26 billion in the red, and therefore we're having to take all these extraordinary measures to try to meet our budget. What we could do is take our state revenues, or just take what we have in deposit right now. The state has $17 billion on deposit in various banks, and these are the banks that have refused to fund our IOUs, so we don't owe them anything. We could pull that money out of those banks, put it into our own bank, and then use it for the deposit base to basically solve our credit crisis. We could fund infrastructure and all those things we think we don't have the money for. We could have the money for, because money is only credit. So we could create the credit for those things if we set up our own banking system. So that's my proposed solution to the banking crisis. And if you have any questions, you can go to my website, www.webofdebt.com. I have many articles there, and I have an active blog. Thank you.